Sorry about the quality of the sound recording today. Conditions out of my control, but let's go ahead and get started. I'm using Visual Studio 2013 Professional. It's the full download from DreamSpark. If you're using something different, it may look a little different, but the basics should be the same. If you're using the Express version of Windows Desktop, you may need to download the console application. So that's what we're going to use today. I'm going to start with the new project, and this new project will be Visual C#, and I'm going to use the console application. I'm going to change the name to something a little bit different. I'm going to make sure I know where I'm saving it at. So I've got it under my Visual Studio 2013 projects. I could browse to find a new location for this, but I'll go ahead and leave it the same. Okay, I'm using a console application. I could use a WPF or a Windows Form application. Once we do that, we add a lot of extra code, and I just want to focus on looking at the basics of maybe making some changes with variables and some other things today. So don't want to deal with the extra code. Keep it simple, working with a console application. So it's up and going. Let's go ahead and make a console and right line. Let's test to make sure everything's working okay, so we'll do now. When I run it like this, I'm going to go ahead and save it and build and run it. I'll do that in all one step. Going debug, start debugging. Now when I run this, it just flashes on the screen. So what I need to do is I need to pause the output for this. Console, and I want read line. And what it's going to do is it's going to pause when it hits this line, and that will let my console window stay on the screen. So let's try it again. Debug, start debugging, and there we've got, looks like we've got everything working. So let's go ahead and start from here. I'm going to add some code to my console application and try it again from there. I'm going to grab some code out of my textbook. See if I can right click on that and copy it, and I'm going to paste that into my application. Let me see if it'll paste directly. Okay. Now I've got green squiggly lines, and when I hover over this, let's see, variable max weight is assigned, but its value is never used. Okay, so we never use this. So what we have is, and there are different data types, and a data type is a way to hold information in what's called a variable name. Integer, max weight, int is a reserved word. It means that whatever comes after it here is going to be the name of a location in memory. And this location in memory can hold only integer data types. Now what is an integer data type? It is a whole number. And we have to have the semicolon at the end. Okay. So now that we have this, let's go ahead. When we run this, you notice that we'll still have the same output. Debug, start debugging. We'll see that the output hasn't changed. It still just says hello world. So let's add a little bit to the output. So after this, let's go with, let me collapse this. Have a little more room. So let's do console, and we'll do right line. And inside of right line, what we'll say is, I want to see the value of max weight. You notice it has it for me down here. And put a semicolon on that. So that now, on one line, right line means write on one line whatever's between these double quotation marks. In this case, it's hello world. And on this line, it assigns this value of 25,000 to the variable max weight. And on this line, it says output, write this line, or output it to the console, whatever's stored in this variable location of integer.maxWeight. So it should output this value of max weight on the next line. So let's go ahead and do debug. We should save it and then run it. And on this line, it has hello world, and on this line where it outputs it, it has the max weight. Okay. Let's go a little bit further with this. And here we've got a string data type. Strings are alphanumeric variables, so alphanumeric characters, so we can put these between double quotes, and anything we want to put between these double quotes is fine. This equal sign is not an equal sign, it's an assignment character. It's saying whatever's on the right here, store it into this memory location called message. And we can place only strings there. Okay. So let's output this. And instead of max weight, we'll put in message. Oops. And let's go ahead and output this. Save it, debug, start debugging, and now it does what we told it to do. Outputs hello there, outputs the whatever's stored in max weight, and it outputs whatever's stored in message. Okay. How about this one? Bool. Boolean data type is either yes or no, or true or false. So it's stored, and we call this Boolean value checked, and the only thing we can save in there is true or false, yes or no. Okay. And there's a reason that we have Boolean data types, and we'll be using them quite a bit. So box checked. Make sure we have our semicolon on the end. Let's see what this does. So on yet another line, let's see what outputs when we output our Boolean value. And our Boolean value outputs to be true. Okay, so we've looked a little bit at variables. Let's go and take another step. Okay, so I'm going to paste some more code into the program, and you notice I'll paste it above the read line. and what we're doing is we're making changes to a variable called number. And here we have our arithmetic operators. We're starting off with number, the value of a number being assigned 15. You notice we can only declare this once. If I try to declare this a second time, if I want to make this, call this integer here, it'll give me the red squiggly line, and I can't do that because it says it's already been defined. So we can only declare it once, but we can change the values several times. In this case, we change it. We started off with the number 15, we add 10 to that, we multiply that, the asterisk, we multiply 36 by 15 and store the value in number. We can change it again to make the value 42 divided by 7. It does whatever's in parentheses first. And then we take 12 minus whatever's in the result of whatever's in parentheses. Here we take the current number of whatever's stored in number 42 and we add 10 to it and assign it back. So whatever it was in this previously, it will be 10 will be added to it and stored back into number. Here we multiply whatever's in number by 3 and assign it back. And here we're just changing it completely again, taking the value 71 divided by 3. Now I would encourage you to see what these values are each step of the way. Let's do right line, and let's do this. Let's say in double quotes we'll say number plus 10 equals, and then we can say number. Now at the end of this we're going to put in our semicolon. Let's try this. Debug, start debugging. And in our program we had number plus 10 equals and then whatever the value of number was. So it took the number, which was 15, it added 10 to it and stored it back into number. Okay, so I'd encourage you to look and see what each one of these values are. Okay, let's go ahead and stop there.